be a gift or a present, a cabinet, a can of soda, a ball, an ice cream cone, a tent, and many more. Solid figure has its parts, and they are faces or any flat surfaces. Now, a shape with a flat surface can stand still, while curved faces could roll away. And edges, which are line segments where two faces meet, and vertices were points where two or more edges meet. Let's compare solid figures to a plane figure. Now, a plane figure is a flat, closed figure that is in a plane. It can be made of straight lines, curved lines, or both straight and curved lines. Here are some of the shapes or a plane figure. So we have here a square, circle, triangle, rectangle, trapezoid, parallelogram, rhombus, and hexagon. So these are just some of plane figures. There are two types of solid figures. We have polyhedron and non-polyhedron. Now, polyhedrons are solid figures with flat, polygonal faces, straight edges, and sharp corners or vertices, while non-polyhedrons are solid figures whose surfaces are not all flat, does not have polygonal surfaces. An example of polyhedrons are cube, cuboid or prism, and pyramid. And for non-polyhedrons, we have cone, sphere, and cylinder. Now, let's describe a cube. So this is a figure of a cube, and a cube is a polyhedron. And all of the faces are squares, so all of its sizes of the faces and edges are identical. So we have 6 faces. We have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the net of the cube, and it has 8 vertices and 12 edges. Another one is cuboid, or we call it prism. Now this is similar to the cube, but a cube has the same length of edges. Cuboid has different size of edge. That is why it is called cuboid. So here's an example. This is the net of the cuboid or the prism, and this is the solid figure or the prism. Now, a prism or a cuboid is a polyhedron, and it has two parallel and congruent bases. And all other faces are rectangles. So as you can see here, we have here two bases and they are parallel and congruent, meaning they are equal, and the rest of the faces are rectangles. Note that base is a part of the faces. It is a surface of the solid object that stands on, and it can be on the bottom or both bottom and no vertex, no edge also. Let's have more examples of solid figures. Now, this time, let's identify what kind of solid figure is described here. So we have, what do you call a solid figure that has two triangular bases and three rectangular faces? So take note of our keyword here. We have two bases. That means it's a prism. But what's the name of that prism? And the clue here is we have faces or rectangular faces. And we know that prism has rectangular faces, and we name the prism by its base. So if there are two triangular bases, therefore it's a triangular prism. Next, what do you call a solid figure that has two circular bases and curved face? So we have here two circular bases, so that means it's a cylinder. Now, which solid figure has six congruent square faces? So it's very obvious that if all faces are square and they are identical and congruent, therefore it's a cube. Now, which solid figure has triangular faces and a square base? So, if the face is a triangle and it has only one base, that means it's a pyramid. So, what's the name of the pyramid? So, we name it by the shape of its base. So, it says here that it's a square, it has a square base, therefore, it is called square pyramid. Next, what do you call a solid figure that has two congruent polygonal bases? So it's, as long as there are two bases or congruent polygon, therefore it's a prism. And what's the name of the prism? So it doesn't says here the name of the base, therefore it's just a prism or a cuboid in general. Next, what do you call a solid figure that has rectangular bases and has four rectangular faces? So if the faces are rectangle, that means it's a prism. And it says here that the bases are rectangle, so therefore it is rectangular prism. Next, what do you call a solid figure that has one circular base and a vertex or one vertex? So it has one circular base, that means it's a cone. Next, which solid figure has triangular faces and a triangular base? So it has one base and the base is a triangle and the faces are triangle. That means it's a pyramid. And what's the name of the pyramid? It's triangular pyramid. Last one. What do you call a solid figure that is a circle with thickness? So it's very obvious, it's a sphere. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you understand our lesson.